One of the first things I wanted to do when ChatGPT started to really take off was to generate presentations using it. We use presentations all the time for sales, education, basic training. It's really a huge part of most businesses, and generating presentations can be super mind-numbingly boring. So that's why I was stoked when Presentee AI hit AppSumo this morning. What it's going to allow you to do is start as detailed or as simply as you want. It could be a single prompt and it can generate an entire presentation from that. Or you could upload a full on outline of exactly what you want included, and it can take that and make it into a beautiful presentation. I've already been trying out Presentee AI and I'm pretty impressed, but there's a few things I want to tell you about just so you can know whether or not this is a good fit for your business. My name's Dave and I review lifetime deals every day of the week, Monday through Friday. Make sure you get subscribed to this channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss a single review that could help you grow your online business while keeping your expenses at a minimum. Now, if you want to help support this content, I do have a sponsored link down below from AppSumo. If you click on that before making a purchase, I earn a commission. Thanks to AppSumo for sponsoring today's video. Now, let's go ahead and try out Presentee AI. I'm going to give you my unabashed feelings about what I like and what I dislike. Let's get into it. Okay, so here is Presentee AI. This is actually a fairly deep and thorough presentation platform, so there's a lot to cover here. But let's start off with the most basic thing, like how could I create a presentation out of essentially thin air? Well, there's a button right here. It's got the magical AI icon next to it. So if I click on this, it takes me into their chatbot-esque interface where I can choose to generate a presentation. By the way, you can also transform a file. What that means is you could start with an existing text outline, a Word document, a PowerPoint file, upload it, and they can transform it into a presentation for their platform. Or you could do it the traditional way and just choose one of their templates. And we'll look at all of these options as we go, but let's start off by just getting something inside of the platform. We'll choose Generate Now. All right, now we have to just give this a title. It's going to give us a few different ideas down here, but you know what? I'm going to create my own. My topic is going to be choosing software to run a modern physical goods e-commerce company. I'm thinking things like the store software itself, aka Shopify, marketing software, as well as analytics. So I'm being kind of nondescript here on purpose just to see how the AI handles this. Now I can choose between three different lengths for my presentation. I can choose simple, standard, and complex. Then I can choose between GPT-4o and GPT-4o mini for the model that's going to generate the actual presentation. And finally, I can choose a language. I'm going to stick with English, but these are the other ones that are currently available. All right, everything looks good to me. Let's go ahead and generate our presentation here. Now, what's going to happen is the chatbot is actually generating an outline. I'm going to have a chance to edit this outline. Once I'm happy with it, I can go ahead and have it apply the entire outline to some actual slides by selecting a template. So you can edit this in multiple ways. You can just scroll through and click, like let's say I'm just going to say testing instead of evaluating. I can do that, just type and it'll update in real time. Or I can go ahead and click on this expansion node up here. It's going to pop me open into a mind map. And this actually looks like a fairly good mind mapping tool. I can zoom in. I can scroll around left and right by holding the shift key. Yeah, so if I wanted to maybe update this from Google Analytics to something else, just double click there, I can replace it. And if I want to add additional content to my presentation, I can simply click on the plus button here to add an additional layer. Now, there is a limit of 4 layers deep in our presentation. So essentially, we're looking at this is the title of the presentation. Here is the title of the section. And then we've got the slides with the individual bullet points. So really, if I wanted to add an additional slide, I'd want to go under my first slide here and then just simply hit the plus button to add that slide right here. So I think this is a great way to quickly go through it. The only thing I would suggest is that maybe they could be a little bit more clear on what part of the presentation I'm actually working on. Just knowing that this is a slide level and that these are bullet points could be really helpful. So why not label it? Now, if you don't like the outline view, there is a button right up here that'll take you into a full screen kind of list view. And then here you do get the labels, which I think are really helpful. Now, if I want a brand new take on this, I could simply hit try another outline down below, but this looks pretty good to me. So I'm going to choose select template theme, which is going to pop open their selection of different themes. Some of these are really nice looking. Some of them have stock photos that I've seen online for years and years. You know, they're all pulling from places like Pexels and Pixelbay and stuff like that. So you're going to see some images like even this one I think is used in a fairly popular WooCommerce type theme or maybe WordPress theme. This lady with the hat here, I've seen that photo a million times. But otherwise, just scrolling through, some of these are really nice looking. So let's just go ahead and choose one. How about this right here? Got some kind of nice AI inspired images. In fact, it can actually generate images for you using AI right in the platform, but a lot of it's just going to be that stock imagery. So let's go ahead and hit continue on this theme right here. And then I've got some choices. So it says select illustration source. It can either be from the theme map, or I can select AI images to actually generate custom images for the presentation. Now, here I'm going to go with theme map, and we'll go ahead and hit next, and it's going to start to generate our presentation right in front of our face. And I think this is one of the most impressive parts of it is you're seeing the presentation come to life right in front of you. I have seen just a few layout things here as it's been populating the presentation very, very quickly. But wow, is this so impressive to see happen in real time. You can see like some of those buttons and there's like overlapping text, but these are pretty simple things to fix. And it would take you a very long time to do this much work inside of something like PowerPoint or Google presentations or slides, whatever they're calling it these days. Yeah, some really, really cool stuff. All right, just like that was real time. I have a 25 slide presentation on how to choose software for your physical goods e-commerce company. Really cool. So what I need to do here is fix some of this stuff, right? Because it's not perfect. It's just pretty close to perfect here. So I want to grab this, maybe just resize some of the typography. And of course, I can just move it around and there we go. It's already looking a lot better. I could upload my logo right here. Now we can bring in our own assets right up here where it says images. We can click on this and we can either go to one of these stock media libraries, or they have what they call a material library, which is something we're going to talk about shortly. But essentially it's like a built-in version of Dropbox where you can add in all of the assets that you might reuse throughout your presentations to make it really easy to grab them. So things like your logo would fit very well into the material library. We'll look at that in a moment. But overall, it's a lot more comfortable to use as a presentation tool than I expected. It feels a lot like a desktop application. I'm using the arrow keys right now to thumb through the presentation. It's very easy to take a look at it. And I just noticed right up here, we have another little spacing issue. I can just go ahead and maybe try to fit that all in one line. Looks pretty good. I'll bump it up to the top and notice how it even aligns with the other headline. Really nice stuff. I'm going to point out on this title slide here, I can see where their images, these are just images by the way, and I can see where they start to go off of the canvas. And that's okay. As you can see here in the presentation, that's fine. It's just not going to show up as just kind of a look, right? Where the image is cut off. It goes right up to the side like a full bleed print. Now, when I'm done tweaking everything and getting it exactly as I want it, I can go ahead and actually present right inside of this tool. There's a play button right up at the top where I can play from the current slide, play from the start, or do a speaker mode where I can see a preview of the slides that are coming next. Now, just due to my screen recording here, I can't do that for you in real time because it takes up the full screen and I'm only recording a section of my screen, but I'll overlay some video here so you can see exactly what it looks like. Okay, so that is generating a presentation from a single prompt. But what if you like to do your outlining in another application? Or maybe you already have, let's say, like a Claude project set up and you want to continue utilizing that, but you want to automate the actual creation of the presentation. Well, you can do that using Presentee. All you need to do is use their convert file option, which is right up here. So we can either just upload our Word file or our PDF right here, and it's going to try to parse that for you, or you can use Markdown to just go ahead and paste in an outline. In fact, I've already prepared an outline, and I'm just going to go ahead, paste it in, and show you what it looks like. So here is my Claude prompt. I just said I wanted to create a 4-part course on the basics of WordPress, and then I gave it the format that Presentee actually provides. And it went ahead and generated that for me. I can easily copy it up here, paste it into Presentee. And so here's what that looks like. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And right now it's reading the parsing file. And I can either transform it exactly from the original content, or I can use AI to basically spruce it up, either regenerate it, extract the original content, or expand the original content. I'm going to keep it as is. So this is the exact outline that I used Claude to create. And then I'm going to choose a theme just like we did before when we created our project from a single prompt. We'll go ahead and just choose this very first template here. There's tons of different templates, by the way, a lot to choose from. You can keep scrolling. They probably about 50, 60 different templates. I just kind of eyeball it. There is favoriting as well, and you can also create your very own templates. We'll get into more of that a little bit later on, but let's say you really like this one I'm about to use. I can just go ahead and click it right there to add it to my favorite. But for now, let's go ahead and generate our presentation. And once again, it is creating this for me in real time, right in front of my eyes. There we go, a 20 slide presentation created like that. And just kind of looking through these, I don't see as many issues as I did on the first presentation that we had created. It all looks like it's formatted relatively nicely here, maybe just a few spacing issues where I might like to have, this is mostly personal preference, but I might like to have a little bit more of a break between paragraphs here. Even just these are a little bit bunched together, but that's a very, very simple fix. All right, next I'm going to show you how to add your own custom fonts so you can use your very own brand's fonts inside of your presentations. And then right after that, we'll look at the material library. That's the Dropbox-esque storage platform that's built right into Presentee. So with custom fonts, if I just hit upload fonts right here, I can select a font right from my hard drive. Now, my only complaint here is that they only support TTF fonts, which is a very popular format of fonts. But if you're a web designer, you probably have WOFF, and there's just other desktop platforms that are a little bit more popular right now, like OTF. Those are kind of the two most common platforms I see, at least on Mac. So you might have to use a web converter to get the file into the right format. I actually did that with a tool called Cloud Convert. I just uploaded my OTF font file here and it converted it into a TTF, no problem. I'm gonna go ahead and upload that right now into Presentee. So I'll just go right here where it says upload fonts, and I chose my TTF file, hit upload, and right away it's recognized. I can go ahead and change the font name here if I want, but I'm gonna leave it at the default. And there we go. I've got my own custom font. Now, if I go into any of my existing presentations, I can open them up inside of their editor, go over to fonts, and then choose custom and select my font here. Now you can see in real time there, my fonts all updated into my custom font. Really cool. Yeah, so I'll just scroll through my presentation here and you can see that all of the slides have been updated with that custom font. Now, if I wanted to do it on a slide by slide or maybe just title by title basis, I could definitely do that as well. Just go ahead and select the actual text that you want to work on. And of course, you can choose a font there as well. Okay, as far as the material library goes, let's upload a logo here so that we have easy access to it inside of our presentations. So I'm gonna go ahead and choose upload file. And I've got my logo right here. It's an SVG file. So if I upload it, it should be supported. And it is, but one thing I noticed is that it doesn't show the preview for SVG files. If I were to upload a PNG file like this one right here, once it uploads, it is also supported, but it actually shows a little bit of the preview. It kind of crops it funny. Now, this isn't really a big deal. It just would make it a little bit more convenient to look at things. But if I click on the triple dots, I can preview it and then it does eventually show up. This is the SVG. And here is the PNG, which is kind of all blown out and distorted looking. It's not that big of a file. So when I look at it in the preview, it's formatted at the appropriate size. Now I can actually tag these files in order to be able to find them easier. So I can click the triple dots, choose tag, and I've just added in the tag logo here. So if I add them both to that tag, I'll check the box right there. Now, if I had, let's say, hundreds or thousands of files inside of my account, I could go ahead and sort them based on the tag that I was looking for, making it a lot easier to sort through things, but I still have these ugly previews here. So definitely some room for improvement on the material library, but it's a really cool feature that exists. So if I go back over to my presentation, let's look at this first one here. I needed to add in my logo. There we go. And notice how fast everything loads too. I find that to be very impressive. It does feel desktop-esque. Okay, so I want to replace this text right here with my logo. I'm just going to go ahead and hit the delete key on my keyboard. That goes away. And now I can add in my image. It's going to be under the material library. Now notice here, I do have my PNG file, but I don't have the SVG. And that's because SVG files aren't technically images. That's reserved for PNG and JPEG and things like that. So if I wanted to grab that SVG SVG file, that's over here under assets. There's another link to the material library, and here is the SVG file. Once again, the preview is not loading. So I can simply click on this and it will insert it into my presentation. And then it's really big because it's an SVG file. So I'm going to shrink it down here and I can simply drop it up here right over my headline. And it looks pretty good right about there. Okay, there's just two more features that I really want to show you. The first one is the AI beautifying of slides. So the situation is you already have a presentation you designed in another platform, but you don't like how it looks. Well, you can bring it right into Presentee and it will use AI to have it adapt to one of its existing templates. Let's go ahead and try this out. I'm going to choose AI Beautify slide. And then without any real description here, it just gives me an upload box. So I'm going to upload an existing presentation that I already have. This is actually the template for Skilljet. I made some courses for Skilljet before. I think their theme looks great. It doesn't need to be beautified, but I have it on my hard drive, so I'm gonna go ahead and upload it. It doesn't pull in everything exactly because this was created in Google Slides. So here's what it looks like originally. You can see it doesn't quite handle the background. There's like an opacity here that isn't quite pulling in, but we're gonna go ahead and utilize Presentee to make this more beautiful. So I've got the first slide selected and I'll just choose this little button right here, AI Beautify slide. And now I can choose one of their themes and it will clean up the slide so that it fits with that theme. So let's say I chose this theme right here. I'll go ahead and hit continue. And once again, I can choose the source of my illustrations. It can be from the theme. It can be from the picture itself. So let's say I really wanted to use this picture of the guy in there, but yeah, everything else I'll just grab from the theme. Then I could also use AI, by the way. I'm going to skip that for now. And now I'm generating my beautified presentation. So you can see here on the title slide, it's got all of the same information that the original Skilljet slide had, but it's been adapted to their more modern looking theme, at least one that looked better as I imported it into Presentee. Now, I just want to point out that this cropping here, I don't really love. Don't worry, you can fix any of this. Just choose their crop tool, and then you can choose the part of the image that you want inside of the crop, and I'll click away, and we'll just put it back about where it was, and that looks a lot better. Okay, so that is beautifying your existing presentation. But what if you have a template that your company uses all of the time? Wouldn't you like to keep everything on brand, even though you're switching to a new platform? You don't want to have to just stick to their templates. Well, check this out. We can go right over here to where it says custom templates, and then I'm going to create a new custom template. Now, there's really a few ways to go about this. If I choose this button right here, I'm going to use Presentee to generate the template from scratch, right? So I'm not starting from any beginning point. No existing template is being brought in. I can simply go through and see the different types of slides. So here's like the title slide, here's the table of contents slide. I can choose my themes, I can choose my fonts, I can upload my logos so that when I generate my presentations in the future, I'll have less editing to do because my exact fonts, my exact logos, and my exact colors will already be preset. Now, let's say you've already done that. Maybe you're working with a designer and they've already created a template for you and you don't want to give that up. Well, no worries. If we go back out to the main screen here, I can create a template from a PowerPoint file. So let's go ahead and choose that. And once again, I'm going to upload that Skilljet presentation we looked at a moment ago. And it's going to import this file. And then basically what we do is we go through each of the existing slides and choose what type of content it is, down to like choosing what part of the slide is the title. So for example, it was smart enough to pick out that this is the title slide. If it was not, I could choose a different slide, but this one is the title slide and the title is right down here. Now, the reporter I'm going to choose is with Steve Collins. You can add any of these custom fields that you like. So let's say you have a subtitle, you would choose that, and then you grab the block of text that was the subtitle, and then you're kind of teaching it where the content goes so that as you upload your outlines, it knows how to map everything to the correct part of your presentation. Now, I don't have a subtitle here, so I'm just going to delete this. So hit next, and now I'm going to select the agenda slide. Well, that's going to be kind of like the table of contents, right? So I'll choose this slide right over here and hit next. And you can see this is kind of a rinse and repeat process. So next I want to have the content slide. Well, that's going to be this one right here where I have a lesson and a title with some bullet points. The serial number will be lesson 1, so on and so forth. As I proceed through this, the number of slides I have available to me is decreasing. So the next type of slide they're looking for is the section slide. So I'll go ahead and maybe just grab this one right here. I can make edits here, by the way. So if I wanted to remove this picture of Steve, I can easily do that. And we'll go to the next section and the closing slide. So this could be my closing slide. And once again, I'm going to remove that photo, and maybe I can even add in some additional text. There we go. That looks like a good closing slide to me. So I've mapped up all of the content appropriately, the title and the reporter, and now I can generate a preview of my template. So that is Presentee. We're still going to go through the deal page, and I'll give you my final thoughts and score in a moment. But I just wanted to let you know that I do have an affiliate link for Presentee down below. If you want to grab that and help support this content, I would greatly appreciate it. All right, so Presentee over on AppSumo, currently $59 for tier 1, and I've been using tier 1 to create this video. If you have a large team, you might want to consider upgrading your plan. We can go to the plan details down here. All of the features are included on every single plan. It's just the number of seats that you're going to get access to. So if you're a solopreneur, you can go with tier 1. If you have a larger team, you can upgrade to a higher tier all the way up to 20 users. Another important distinction is that each seat gets 20,000 monthly credits for their AI assistants per month. Now, how many credits are you actually going to need? Well, I can tell you that in the making of this video, I was pretty impressed that I barely used any credits at all. I started off with 22,000 credits because they give you an additional 2,000 when you sign up, and I still have 21,521 left. And I made more presentations than what I showed on this video. So there's really just a few things that didn't go absolutely perfectly inside of Presentee. Like I'd occasionally have to resize a font myself. Not a huge inconvenience, but if you're looking for something that has absolutely no human oversight, it's not there yet, but it's darn close. Overall, I'm impressed with the themes. I'm impressed with actually using the application. The editor feels great, and all of the features that I could think that I want are basically there. Sure, maybe there's some advanced animations that you'd like to see, and you can't get those inside of Presentee, but honestly, I think we're not really that impressed by animations inside of presentations these days anyway. Just get the information out there, and people generally appreciate that more than a fancy fly-in. For 59 bucks, I can't think of a single reason not to buy Presentee, and it's been a very long time since I've recommended a product that strongly. I'm gonna go ahead and give Presentee an 8.4 out of 10. If you have any questions about Presentee or any other lifetime deals you see over at AppSumo or anywhere else on the internet, don't hesitate to leave me a comment down below. I'm making new reviews every single day of the week, so I need some inspiration about what types of content you wanna see. I'll look for your messages in the comments. My name is Dave. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next review.